seconds or you pick? Okay. Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started. If you plan on speaking tonight, you can come up to the podium and sign your name and address. When you do come up to speak for your turn, just make sure you state your name and address as well for the record. We will start tonight's meeting with the pledge, if you can all stand. Thank you. In the event of an emergency tonight, we do have exits to the side. Please follow the exit signs provided in the room and throughout Town Hall when you leave the room. Main exits are located at the front and rear of the building. Do not use the elevator in the event of an emergency. This meeting is being recorded and will stream live online. If you do not want to wait till the end of any particular vote to hear the outcome, you can call the town clerk's office tomorrow after 9 a.m. to hear what the result is. If we could have, the next meeting is May 16th, 2023. Today is Tuesday, April 18th, 2023. If we could have the deputy clerk call the roll, please.
Chairwoman Nichols.
Present.
Member Schubert. Present. Member Phillips. Present. Member Bray. Here. Member Parker.
In addition to the board you see before you, we also have with us our ZEO, Danny Latowski, and Ann Demopoulos, Deputy Town Attorney. I would ask at this time if we have a motion on the approval of last month's minutes. Mr. Schubert, I understand you weren't here, so you'll be abstaining. Do we have a motion with the minutes? Any opposition? Hearing none. That motion is granted 4-0. We do have 8 items on the agenda tonight. The first one being 6728 Main Street. Will the petitioner come forward, please?
May I make a comment?
And while the petitioner is doing that, we will put something on the record with respect to items 2, 3, and 4.
That's correct. I think it's important for the board to know, this has actually not ever happened before, but tonight I have 3 matters on the agenda that I have recused myself from. Number 2, which involves Dent, which is a firm client. Number 3, which is Canterbury Woods, which is a firm client. And number 4, which are neighbors of mine. So I will not be participating in 2, 3, or 4. I may have to recuse myself.
So for those items, only the board vote would be 4 members. Right. With that, we will turn to the first item on the agenda, 6728 Main Street. Please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, good evening. I am Jennifer Lipinoga, and I am owner of the Beleza Salon in Williamsville. I do not own the building, I only own the salon.
Okay. Do you want to tell us about your petition?
Absolutely. We started this process, I would say last April 2022, and looking to increase our visibility. As you can see, the Beleza Salon is not very close to the curb or roadside. We did decide to take down a tree and replant and do fresh gardening last year to create more visibility for the salon. Of course, as you know, the pandemic has definitely put a damper on everybody in my building. I used to have 22 staff, and now I'm down to 13. So we've had a 41% decrease in staff, and I cannot get anyone to come back on board. Doing research, an LED display, what it can do, it increases up to 90% of the traffic and visual flow right there on Main Street, coming north and south. I do have pictures, if you did want to see, of the Main and Transit Fire Hall. It is across the street. They have a beautiful sign, and I've never paid attention until they put up their digital sign. It talks about text driving, talks about what they need neighbors to do as far as shoveling their sidewalks. And it gives great information, which is what LED signs do. So I'm hopeful that with the 13 families that are in there, and we're all women, we did have some death due to COVID and some unforeseen circumstances with some of our male staff. However, they look to me, I have a hybrid staff, which means I have employees and I have booth renters. So they all look to me for improvements on the space within and without. Appearance enhancement is very important. Your building has to look just as sharp on the outside as it does on the inside. And of course, it creates a more professional atmosphere. So with that being stated, we did go ahead and we had to prepay for all the architectural drawings, which LED sign companies require. There's no way around it. It's to my understanding, if I do not get approved, I am out that money through no fault of anybody here on the town board, but that is the process, unfortunately. Also, I will tell you something interesting that I did research. It's more eco-friendly, which I did not know. It is lower maintenance cost, and the sign itself will be able to go through all of the different services and our staff, showing the different staff that's there, giving them more opportunity to grow as the booth renters do, as opposed to a salon suite style, which has been popping up all over the place, taking a lot of business from the regular salons. And I've been in Williamsville since 2004, so I plan on staying for another, 15 years, and God willing, in this building is where I want to stay. Do you have any questions?
I do. The size of the new sign, how does that compare to the current sign that we were looking at earlier?
The size of the what sign? I'm sorry.
The one that's currently there.
Oh, versus the new one. It's probably, I don't know if my husband could tell me about that, because he's been doing all the red tape. About a, yeah.
Okay.
And it has been grandfathered in, which is why the pole in itself, I was never able to do anything but do the original Beleza sign with the phone number on there until now.
Okay, and can you speak a little bit as to where are the closest residences in relation to the
It's all
sign?
commercial district. If there's any residents, it would be behind us, which we do not have access to. If you are facing Beleza, right now, to the left, you have the Stolpa Agency. Right next door to them is William Mattar with their 2 large buildings. To the right is Western Division. Right next to us, Western Division has a beautiful digital sign with images. And then diagonal, we have Napoli's, and they also have a beautiful digital sign. So I don't believe our sign would be an eyesore in any way, since we're so close to the others.
I think the concern is whether any residences can see the sign. So even if they're behind you, could any houses
No,
see the
absolutely
sign?
not, because it's not going any higher than allotted, especially compared to the other 2 signs.
Okay.
2 acres back? Okay. Okay,
Perhaps we could just pull up a aerial.
sure. And our sign does light currently.
Okay, so in looking at the aerial view, it looks like there would be a building in between the sight line of the closest house on Caesar Boulevard and the sign. Does that seem fair to everyone? Okay. All right, anyone else have any questions? Okay, hearing no other questions from the board, do we have anyone here from the audience to speak on this petition? Seeing no one come forward, we'll close the public hearing at this time. Do we have a motion from anyone on the board?
Move to approve.
I will second. Ron, do we need to go through the tests? Yes. Okay, Ron, can you briefly?
Character of the neighborhood, describe whether an undesirable change will be produced. We've already heard there are several signs around the property, similar signs around the property already, so the answer to that is no.
My name is Randy DiNatale. I'm here for Flex Loom Signs, representing Dent Tower as well, 1464 Main Street. So if you scroll down, yep, right there, that's perfect. As you can see right now, that's the existing on the left side over there. It is very small and very outdated. I know that from being in the area and living around here that you know Dent Tower for Dent Tower. But if you're not from the area and say, they're trying to send you to Dent Neurological Institute, you're going to have no idea where that is, especially if you're driving on the thruway or driving down Sheridan. You're just going to see Dent Tower, and is actually very small and hard to read. And if you scroll down, you can even see pictures that I took from the street. You could keep going, but just to show you like how small the actual sign is now, and it is actually missing the W there. So I know Dent is trying to identify themselves as the business that they are, and kind of show that more with a bigger sign and with the actual business that they are running.
Okay. Does anyone from the board have questions?
What is the, what is like the material of the new sign made out of? Is it reflective or anything like that?
That'd be acrylic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? All right, do we have anyone here from the audience to speak on this petition? Seeing no one come forward, we will close the public hearing. Do we have a motion with respect to this petition?
I'll make a motion.
All right, I will second. We can run through the test quickly, Mr. Bray?
Sure. So, character of the neighborhood, the character won't be changed. We're replacing an existing sign with a slightly larger sign that is not, different than what is currently there. Other alternatives, would the benefit being sought be achieved by some other feasible method? No, there is not. The signage is being asked to be enlarged, and that's what the request is. Substantial, is the request substantial? No, it is not. It is a slight variance on the size. Physical environmental conditions, there will be no effect on the physical environmental conditions. And is this self-created? Yes, it is, but that is not a sole reason to change, to deny a request.
Thank you. Do we have any opposition to the request? Hearing none, the motion is granted 4-0 with member Schubert abstaining.
Appreciate it.
All
Thank
set.
you.
Thank you. Next up, we have number 3 on the agenda, 705 Renaissance Drive.
Good evening. My name is Rav Godlewski. I'm an architect with Architectural Resources, and we're here to represent Canterbury Woods, and Rob Wallace, the CEO and president of Canterbury Woods, who's in the audience today.
Can you just also state your business address? Thank you.
705 Renaissance Drive.
Thank you.
So we're here to apply for a building sign variance for Canterbury Woods Theater, which is in addition to the existing complex, and it's called Canterbury Woods Performing Arts Center. We have a few slides that we'd like to go over. So Canterbury Woods is located between Ayer Road, Youngs, and Renaissance Drive. Renaissance Drive is actually where you access the building, which is located right there on the south end of the complex. And then on the next slide, you'll see that Canterbury Woods is actually, even though it's within the residential neighborhood, it is visually separated from houses which are to the south. There's a park to the west, and then the building sign would not be visible from anywhere else. We have a few pictures of the, so this, the red portion of the road here is actually where you would be able to see the building. And then the next slide shows a few pictures along Renaissance Drive. So for example, on number 1, you're only able to see a little portion of the building, and 2 and 3 is where you would see the building most prominently. And number 4 is, again, the trees would block it again. Here's another shot of it, an aerial shot from the other side. Again, that portion of Renaissance Drive where you'd be able to see the building and the sign. You would not be able to see it from anywhere else, really. So the sign would read Canterbury Woods Performing Arts Center. It would be a building sign that's attached directly to the building, and it is made of stainless steel cut letters. And it is not self-illuminated. So we don't believe that the sign would have a negative impact on the neighborhood, as it is not visible from any houses around Canterbury. And we believe that the theater is a prominent addition to Canterbury Woods and also the neighborhood, and deserves a proper building sign to be identified. That's it. Thank you very much.
Okay. Do we have any questions from the board?
I have one. I know you said that the sign, the lettering would be self-illuminated. Are the plans to have some sort of illumination around projected on it?
There's landscape lighting around the building. Would be new. Right. Correct. Yes. The landscape lighting is there in the project.
And you're for us because this is a residential zone and you're not supposed to have any sort of.
Correct.
Obviously, it's not a residential property.
Correct.
Anyone else? Okay, hearing nothing else from the board, do we have anyone from the audience to speak on this? Okay, seeing no one come forward, we'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion from anyone on the board? Okay. I think he's already gone through most of the test. I would say that it is self-graded, though that alone is not a basis to deny. I think we hit most of the other points. So do we have any opposition to the request? Hearing none, the motion is granted 4-0. You're all set.
Thank you so much.
Oh, wait. Okay, next up is item number 4, 41 Meadowview Lane.
Hello, my name is Laura Kolka. I'm an attorney at Goldberg Segala, and I represent Mr. Oliverio, who has requested a variance. He would like to build a accessory shed on his property, which is proposed, as you can see in the red there, and the square footage will exceed what the code permits. So that is the purpose for the request for the variance.
Okay, do you want to walk us through the balancing test, or do you want us to ask questions?
Sure. Well, I can certainly walk through the balancing test with you. It's not going, as far as the character of the neighborhood, it's not an undesirable change. It fits within the bounds of his property. It's a small and inconspicuous structure that meets with what's the character of the neighborhood. Are there other alternatives? There could be other alternatives. However, any revision to the site plan would be subjective in nature and doesn't alter the alternate request that's before the board. This is not substantial in nature. It's just a couple hundred square feet variance is requested. It's going to be non-invasive. It's not going to be disruptive to the neighborhood or anything around. It fits within the character of what's there. It would allow this to have it completed, would allow it to be in line with what the property structure is, and it's not a self-created issue. So that's the purpose of the request. Do you have any questions?
Okay. Does anyone from the board have questions or comments?
We got some communication on this matter about the use of the garage. Could you speak to that?
Yes, he is going to be using it to store some equipment as well as he does some hobby work, I think some woodworking stuff that he's going to be doing in there. That's my understanding.
So what sort of equipment?
I believe some landscaping equipment, is my understanding.
So is it for a private enterprise?
It's work that he does, yes. He's going to be storing it there, right?
So, I guess to cut to the chase, is your client going to be storing his commercial vehicles in this structure? Because what I noticed is that the application was pretty well silent on that.
Sure.
That was the basis of most of the opposition that we've received was to that point. So, I feel like there's a little bit of dancing around that
Sure,
issue.
sure.
So if you could just pointedly.
No,
tell
that's
us
a- that's a-
He's going to be storing his commercial equipment for his business, which is run out of the property in this facility.
I would say, I would assume so, right? I mean, that's the reason for having, wanting to, but he also is gonna be putting other stuff, it's not exclusively for that, but yes, I believe that some of his equipment will be in there as opposed to being out in the open. It will obviously conceal it and won't be something the neighbors have to see. So yeah, that's part, keep it from getting damaged, wind, rain, obviously snow. So that's my understanding.
Is that equipment being stored on the property but outside of a structure at this point?
That I don't know for sure, honestly.
Does he have another business address or place that he stores equipment currently? Or is this the sole address for the business?
That I don't know either. I'm actually substituting for another one of my attorney friends who got stuck out of town. So that I honestly, I do not know the answer. I could find out, but at this point, I don't know.
Okay, so it sounds like perhaps maybe it would be prudent to hold the public hearing, but adjourn so that we could get some more information.
Yeah, that's fair.
And also talk to the building department about whether any other kind of permits are needed to be running a business.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense.
But I do want to let the neighbors speak because I think there are people here, so we might as well have
Okay,
them come
sure.
forward today.
Absolutely.
So I would ask if anyone is here to speak on this, if you could come forward and state your name and address and sign in on the record.
Hi, my name is Nancy Sir. I live at 8 Auden Court. Actually, on the other side, right where that is, right there. Yes. So the thing is, his home, the frame of the house, is 1,600 square feet. What he wants to build is 1,200 square feet. He has been cutting down trees. We have pictures. He has been getting ready for this. We just found out about this Saturday. He does own a landscaping business. I have pictures of that. I also have pictures of the landscaping business, the trucks in the driveway. I've been looking at for years. And now he wants to build this to put all, I have a picture here.
If you want us to
Several
display them,
pictures,
because we
yes.
can't see them
Oh,
when you're holding them.
I'm sorry.
So we could put them on the projector if you want to hand them up to
Okay.
me. Are these just two copies of the same thing?
No, this is all his equipment that he has.
Okay, so why don't you give me that, and I will have them
Okay.
put it up on the display. Oh.
There it is.
Well, I think we can look at it.
Oh,
No, it looks like it's going. VN says it's good.
so that's 41 Meadowview Lane. That's people that work there for him. That's his truck that he keeps in the driveway. Now, behind them is his garage. Now, it opens from the front and it opens from the back. So now what he wants to do is be able to drive his trucks through that garage into his new 1,200 square foot garage.
So let me just interrupt for one moment.
Okay.
1,200 square feet is allowed by the code. So we're talking about 54 feet above that. So when you're saying 1,200, that is totally allowed. We're just
Well-
talking about the 54 square feet above that. Well, wait a minute, you're not.
Okay.
You're not speaking
It
yet.
actually,
So this,
actually,
they're
it's
saying that this
400
is for,
Close to 5, the difference.
Oh, am I looking at the wrong one? Oh, I'm looking at, okay, I have, all right, I'm sorry. Okay, so, but when you're saying 1,200 square feet, that would be allowed? Total.
If you got rid of the other
Okay,
assessment.
okay, sorry, go ahead.
so that's his home. And you'll see on the right, there's his trucks and the plows that he has. And there's the front garage that he will open, and then he has another one in the back. So that's the house with the plows. And that's just on a nice day. That's what he has, his company at the house. So for the attorney to say that he's using this for crafts and things like that, it's not the case. He has plows, he has that, I don't know what that is, a digger? I have no idea what that.
The photograph on the left, have you seen that piece of equipment out at the property? Or are we just talking about the pickup trucks with plow pieces?
I have not seen that at the property.
Okay, so have you,
I went online and took pictures of his company and what he says he can do.
okay.
And
but-
this was from Christmas.
But what I want to know,
But I don't, he has no place to put it right now on his property, so I don't know where he's keeping this.
okay, so you've never seen heavier equipment like this at the property?
I've seen that. What, this one? Yes.
So you've not seen any kind of backhoes, bulldozers, you've
I've
seen
seen-
these plows, like, that you would do a city sidewalk with, or a small lot?
No, I haven't seen that big one, no. That's his truck, and that's the thing that he pulls every day on the back. So the thing is, it backs right up to my backyard. That's his other truck.
How many vehicles do you generally?
That's another piece of
Ma'am?
his,
How many vehicles do you generally see at the property in a given day? You gotta wait, I think.
3 or 4, sometimes all of these that I'm showing you, except that huge one.
You would say that he's essentially running his business out of this property?
Oh, he definitely is, and that's what this structure is for.
Okay.
The other thing I have a problem with is there's only one access down his driveway through the garage to this new garage. So if there were a fire in that new garage, how would they put it out? There's his house. Yep, that's just a summer day.
Yeah, go to the left. Just a random truck there, stop and gone.
Is that your house to the right?
To the left.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're on the left side. Okay, so the.
I'm
brick
on
house-
Auden Court, so you have to go around. His backyard and my backyard are the same. If you do that aerial one again, please. Yep. So my house is down, can you make it bigger? Yep. So that's my backyard, right there. So what he wants to do, right there, is where he wants to build it. So the other thing is, the concern is, there is no way to get back there if there were a fire or anything like that. How, that's kind of a big structure to have. It's also a residential area, and this is going to be for commercial use.
You know,
Well,
No,
well,
wait,
let's
wait.
just ask if she's, are you?
Do you have any other question? Pardon?
Is that it?
That's it for me. I don't know. I'm opposed, obviously.
Okay.
But,
Okay, so thank you, then you're all set.
but
We'll let the
but
next guy stand
we're
up.
gonna redo this with the, are we gonna be notified if this comes up again, or?
So we're probably going to adjourn this to the next
Okay.
meeting, though we have not voted on that yet. I said at the very beginning, the next meeting is May 16th, 6:30, same
Okay.
time, same place. So it's an open meeting, so you're welcome to come back.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
all right. Anyone else to speak on the petition? Just make sure you sign your name, address, and state the same.
Jay
for the record.
Gruber, 40 Meadowview, directly across.
Did you sign it?
Yeah, I did.
Perfect, thank you.
Whoever is driving the Google Earth, could you go a little down the street for a second? Just to the right, just a bit, no. Okay, look at the street and into the road, the marks. Yeah, those marks that you see, if you'll zoom right into them, you'll see that this is heavy equipment marks. Anyway, the point is, what we got the consent here and understanding that this probably gonna serve for equipment. The problem is not necessarily the equipment. You see what's going on today too, or yesterday, is the fact that there is equipment right now there, and crews, the 11 o'clock crews come and return something, and another crew comes back and pick up something. You're running a commercial business out of that outfit right there. And that's what needs to stop. If they want to build a nice garage in the back for some nice cars, I'll pick up the hammer and help them do that. It's not a garage. And that's going on for a long time. And that's not his truck. It's just a random truck on a random day. Until yesterday, there were 3 plows with snow plow removal. Today, they are not there. But I can show you a bunch of trucks that came and left today.
Sir, how long have you lived in the neighborhood?
Me,
Yes.
20. If you turn on completely, that's my son's car, that's my house.
And how long?
I see it right through the window all day long.
How long?
Fortunately, unfortunately, I'm working from home because of COVID.
How many years have you noticed this going on for?
Since they bought it, they moved, I don't know, 5 years, 6, I don't know. I'm not a big complainer, so I haven't done anything. But since I got this letter, which would have been nicer if we would have gotten a letter before the appeal that the permit was requested, I don't know why the town regulation doesn't require sending us a notice that a appeal was entered, or something was rejected, or that something is going on. Second step to that is a complete puzzle to me why on this town website, right now, there is in essence a statement granting the project. How does that make any sense? Right now, I have a picture in my pocket of the town board, the town website, that there is already a resolution to grant.
That's just a draft resolution
Why?
in case we do
Before even a
decide.
hearing, a granting a draft paper?
Otherwise, we'd be sitting here typing all night long, it's just in case we're gonna grant it. But
It's okay.
Everyone has-
I found it puzzling, but I mean, that's how you do it, that's how you do it. It's just strange that I logged in this morning and I see that there is a draft resolution basically saying that it's being granted and awaiting a signature. Again, if it's just a garage, I'll help him build it.
okay.
If it's for a business, they need to stop regardless of the garage or not.
Okay. Do we have anyone else here to speak on this petition? Okay, seeing no one else come forward or hearing from no one else, we'll close the public hearing at this time. I think before we hold a discussion with the board, perhaps we need a little more information from the building department. And I think it would really help to maybe have either Mr. Oliveri or the attorney who was in touch with him appear at the next meeting.
Yes, I will make sure that they're here for the next. I would, if you want to adjourn it, that would be great, so we can get more information from him. One thing I will mention, though, is if the concern is that it's going to be storing equipment, which likely it will be, and if it's out in the open right now, which is bothersome, if it's in there, it would be less bothersome. So and he is permitted to build a structure. Speaking to the building department, that probably makes sense to see about what to do with that. But I will make sure that he and the other attorney are here next time to further discuss.
So I will move to adjourn. Do we have a second? Okay. Any opposition to the adjournment? Hearing none, that request is granted 4-0. So we will revisit this at the next meeting,
Thanks. And when is that? That's in
May
May?
16th.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up on the agenda is item number 5, 220 Shoals. Shellis, I'm sorry, I don't live there. Shoals, Shellis. Looks like Shoals. See?
Hello, I'm Brian Minervini from 220 Shells Road.
Shells, okay.
We're just requesting a variance to build an accessory structure. Not just personal use, no, I don't own a business, so.
Okay,
I don't know if you guys have a question, I don't know, never done this before, so.
okay. So, did you fill out this application with this nice writing?
No, that was my wife.
I assumed that.
You might not be able to read it if I did, so.
I think we've all had a chance to review it. Does anyone have questions regarding what's on the petition?
So you're proposing a 1,500 square foot building? And how did you arrive at that size? That seems large.
Just for storage of a camper and a Jeep that I have, and just personal, ATVs. They're all currently jammed in a different, my regular garage, so.
And the height of the garage?
The walls are gonna be 14 feet. That is what I'm asking for. And then I think it's like 5 feet for the roof line, so 19 feet total.
Have you spoken to your neighbors about this project?
I have, two of them, a couple houses down already have barns of similar size, one even bigger. Everybody else I've spoken to has been okay with it, so. I don't see any of them here that I know of, so.
And there are other pole barns in that
Yes.
area
Yeah.
of town.
Yeah, the 2 houses down and 4 houses down, all within sight, there's a couple of them.
Okay, so that would be like the character of the neighborhood,
Yeah.
you would say?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, and it'll end up being all landscaped. I mean, we bought the house as a foreclosure, totally redid it and redid the landscaping, so. Not just gonna throw up a rinky-dink shed and let it be, so.
okay. Any other questions from the board? Do we have anyone here from the audience to speak on this petition? Seeing no one come forward, we'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion at this time?
Second.
Okay. Maybe we should run through the tests briefly.
All right, so character of the neighborhood, describe whether an undesirable change will be produced by the character of the neighborhood. No, there will be not. There are similar structures on neighbors' properties. Other alternatives, whether other alternative can be achieved, which would achieve their goal, that would not be. They would have to have this alternative in order to achieve their desired goal. Substantial, whether this variance is substantial in nature, no, it is not. It is within the reasonableness of the other properties and is similar in structure. Whether there'll be a adverse impact on the physical or environmental condition, no, there will not be. There will be no impact on that really, and it's self-created, yes, it is. However, that is not a reason to deny on its own.
Given the test, do we have any opposition to the motion? Hearing none, that is granted 5-0.
All right,
All
thank
set?
you. Thank you very much.
Next up is number 6, 187 Box Elder Lane. Sure. All right.
The 1-3 side, because I didn't know what it Okay.
All right, just state your name and address.
My name is Andrea Clark, and I live at 187 Box Elder Lane in Amherst. Okay. So the proposed project is a fence and shed along the side of my property. It's on a corner lot, but it is within the 25-foot easement restriction from the town of Amherst. Based on what is currently deemed allowable, the shed would be in the middle of my backyard, and a fence would be directly over a sewage drain in a slope. I tried to like address the questionnaire thing when I filled it out. As far as the character of the neighborhood, there is an undesirable change. Oh, is there? Oh, I don't need to read that out loud. No, this will. No, this will allow my neighbors the courtesy of not having to see our garbage cans, basketball hoop, and other outdoor equipment in eye view. It will also keep the neighborhood walkers from staring into our house daily. Are there other alternatives? No, not really. Due to the town of Amherst sewer department, they came by and inspected my property. There is a sewer easement along the backside of my property as well, so therefore I'm not able to place a shed anywhere in that region either. Is it substantial? Based off of the surrounding neighbors who have fenced in their properties at 3 feet and 5 feet on their corner lots, I thought requesting 7 feet instead of the 10-foot allowance did not seem substantial. Having said that, at 5 feet, the fence would clear all pipes and creates a cleaner line for the fence and easier ability to work with the slope of the yard and that sewer drain positioning in the back. In addition, I plan on having the fence gated along the back to provide the town with accessibility if work ever does need to get done inside the yard. Are there physical and environmental conditions? No. And it's not really self-created. All the restrictions on the corner lot have prohibited me from being able to place a shed anywhere other than directly in the middle area of my yard. The town of Amherst Sewer Department confirmed this already, that we can't place a shed in the back of the yard. And the benefit, this approval would allow the best usage of square footage for our home and yard while maintaining the charm of our newly built neighborhood.
Okay. Does anyone have questions from the board?
Lots of questions. I'm not following any of this. I'm sorry, no offense.
No, it's okay.
It said the fence will be 7 feet 5 inches from the north property line, the fence. The north property line then would be at Canal View Terrace?
I believe that is the sidewalk line.
Okay, so where it says 7, there's a 7'5", but that means 7'5" from the property line, and the minimum required would be 10 feet. So you're, okay, I got that piece.
Yeah. 10-foot, see where it says catch basin? That's it, like right at the 10-foot line.
And
So
then,
we figured if we pushed it back a little bit at 7 feet, it would clear that because the fence with the, it dips down, so then the fence wouldn't actually be fencing anything in. But at 5 feet, because of the stupid slope, the picture I have, we had it bumped out, it would just be that straight all the way down.
the next question I've got is, says petitioner's shed will be 10 feet from the same property line, whereas the requirement is a minimum side yard setback of 25 feet. I don't see that piece in the drawing. Maybe I'm missing something there, too. I'm sorry. This says, okay, I'm reading off of here. It says it will be 12, okay, it's going to be 12 feet from the, okay. And it's required is 25 feet? And where would that, I'm not seeing that on the drawing.
The 25-foot setback?
Yeah, 20, okay, it's 20.
This is 27.64.
Okay. So that would be, got it. So the shed would have to be closer than to the house in order to meet the requirements.
It could be
code.
further if we're allotted to move the fence out a little bit further. I was trying to keep the spacing, all of it, within range of what's technically needed for town of Amherst requirements.
And I'm not understanding, what is the issue with the utility easement?
So along the backside of the property, oh, I'm sorry, that's sewage easement. So 15 feet of that on the side is utility easement. I called, what is that, 811, and I had them come flag everything out, and in the pictures that I have, these things, I have the flag showing where it is, and so I figured, as trying to find like a range, is to put the fence on the inside of those flags, but that's when it comes into an issue with the slope of that catch basin, and so then you probably, to keep it flat, would have to do like a 5-foot bump out.
Oh, there's a drain in the yard.
Oh, yeah, there's, this is fun.
There are no I'm sorry, say it again?
There's no encumbrances allowed with the public easement, so without a license agreement from the town attorney's office, she wouldn't be able to place a shed or the fence in the easement. So she's already contacted our attorney's office, and they're okay with issuing that license agreement, subject to this being granted tonight.
Okay, so the shed is actually going to be in an easement area. Okay.
It's kind of stuck in an easement one way or the other, unless it's literally behind my dining room or my living room windows. which is not ideal.
So you're juggling it around to kind of make it fit.
Yes. There's a lot of square footage. That's like I did like the stakes with trying to give a visual because I'm a visual person and the numbers were confusing me to death. So it does help, right? You can see there's that's at 7 feet, but if you did 5 feet, all those flags would be on the inside of the yard. And I would have gates available and we could take the fencing down if ever needed be. I'm not really concerned about any of that. I just want my dog to have a yard.
So the outside circle is your proposed fence line.
I'm sorry, say that again?
The stakes, that's obviously the shed, but the other stakes are showing the fence line.
That one we did at 7 feet, except for at the end where the drain is, because there's like a grading dip. To push it out to 5 feet would allow that to be enclosed in. Or my husband was like, we could bump it in the other way, but I think that creates way more work and a lot more chaos.
I guess I had one more question to the town. Is there a requirement in terms of distance from the house to the shed for fire purposes?
Yes, minimum 5 feet separation.
Okay. All right, so right now we've got 2.5 extra feet.
And a lot of this is created because you're on a corner lot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, is there anyone here from the audience to speak on this petition? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion from anyone on the board?
Motion for approval.
Second.
Yes. Do we want to add some conditions? Subject to the license agreement with the town attorney's
Subject to
office
license agreement with the town attorney's office
for the fencing
for the fencing.
and the shed. And the easement.
Yeah, and shed easement.
I have a question on that point. Is this a common practice to give licenses from your office?
I wouldn't say common, but it happens.
How long has this been going on for?
I've only been here 2 years. So yeah, it's common, actually.
All right,
Very common.
thank you, thank you.
Okay, and is the motion for both requests in one?
Yes.
Okay. Does that change the second?
No, still second.
All right. Do we have any I think we went through the test. She went through the test.
Yes.
Do we have any opposition to the requests? Hearing none, the motion is granted 5-0. So you're all set.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Next up is number 7555 Casey Road.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Dave Kazmerzak. I'm the architect working with the owner of 555 Casey Road, Bill Wallace. I'll try to be brief. I started working with Bill at the tail end of 2017.
Can you just speak up a little bit? Sorry.
I'm sorry, is that better?
Yeah.
I'll try to be brief. I started working with Bill at the tail end of 2017 on a very ambitious project in 2 phases. The first phase has been completed, and then due to a string of unfortunate circumstances, including the pandemic, phase 2 never happened. The entire purpose for doing this work was to bring his mother to come live with him. As the project was postponed due to the pandemic, she unfortunately passed away. Bill rescoped the project, and the phase 2 portion now will involve the complete demolition of the existing ranch-style house that is currently there. Phase 1 has been completed. That is an addition to the east with a garage with attic. As the Phase 2 project now entails completely demolishing the existing house, Bill is proposing to add this accessory structure, which will look identical to the Phase 1 garage, in order to vacate the house, which is going to be completely demolished and then rebuilt with a second floor. On the west, there are some adjacent outbuildings that are, well, shanties, let's say, and they're going to be completely demolished. Given the size of the lot, we really don't think we're asking for too much relief. We are in excess of the total area of, excuse me, allowed garage, attached or detached, and hence our appearance tonight.
Okay. I do have in front of me a letter from the Town of Amherst Building Department regarding the building permits that were initially issued, and I believe have expired.
That is correct.
So, can you speak to that a little bit, Dan, for the record?
The Assistant Building Director, Doug Gessel, is asking that this matter be adjourned so that the petitioner can sit down with the Building Commissioner's office and provide a scope and a timetable to address some property maintenance issues. Apparently there are washing machines on the front porch and some other outstanding issues, and they want to get a better understanding of the capacity of the petitioner to carry on this proposed project.
Okay. That seems reasonable to grant an adjournment, but I would like to at least hold the public hearing while we're here. So does anyone have any questions at this point for the petitioner?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Of course. As I'm understanding this, you have a house, it's existing, you added a garage attached to it,
Yes, that's correct.
and now you're going to tear down the house that's attached to the garage.
Down to the foundation.
I'm going to use the foundation then?
Yes, there's a
Okay.
basement below the existing house.
And then the accessory garage will be used to store whatever's in the house while you're doing this demolition.
And then to clean up the site after he tears down the shanties to the west, and he's got some vehicles stored. I'm unaware of the washing machine on the porch.
All right, thank you.
Is this intended to be temporary then, once the house is built, or is
No, it
this
would be
going to
permanent.
remain?
It would be permanent. Yes.
Okay. Anyone else for today? Okay, why don't we see if there's anyone here from the audience to speak on this petition? Okay, can you come forward and state your name and address and sign in, please?
My name is Glenn Spoth. I live to the west. Well, I own the property west of the house. So I didn't quite hear everything that he was saying. So that old garage is going to be torn down, you're saying?
West?
So that,
Yes, to the west.
so that old garage is sitting, your point is the existing building
See
are
the
be,
red bubble here? Existing outbuildings that are to be completely demolished.
so that's going to be demolished?
Yes.
Your house is staying, right?
Well, it's going to be rebuilt from the
It's going to be
foundation.
rebuilt? Okay. So that's going to begin a new garage in the back then?
The highlighted in red would be the new garage,
And the-
accessory structure.
Okay, and the driveway is going to be on the other side of the
The
house, correct?
driveway remains where it is.
And that's for storage, just the garage for storage, not business anything, or just?
Well, temporarily storing what's in the house is going to be demolished, and then clean up the site, and whatever's in those outbuildings goes into the new garage.
So that's a permanent garage to be built there?
That's correct.
Okay. For vehicles? For work or just vehicles? Because it's a pretty big garage, right?
It is. He's got a lot of interests, and now that he's retired, he's pursuing them.
Pursuing-
I'm sorry here. I'm
None of
sorry.
none of this is getting picked up on the record, I think, because it's kind of like a conversation.
Yeah, it probably is.
So,
Okay, so
You will
it's just,
not-
it's just a garage for cars, that's it, right?
Yes.
Nothing else? Okay, and that other one's gonna be torn down? Okay.
The
All right,
house.
Yeah. The house is staying or going?
May I?
Okay, I think he's saying that see that bubble that says existing outbuildings are to be completely demolished,
Correct.
pointing to that light bluish building?
Okay, so that's going.
That's going.
That's all.
But
The house is
The
going
ugly things that you have to
temporarily.
look at are going away.
Okay. So that whole backyard's gonna be cleaned up, it's kind of a nice road.
Yes.
Okay. That's it.
Okay, all right, thank you. Anyone else here to speak on this petition? I don't see anyone else coming forward. We'll close the public hearing at this time. Do we have any requests then from the board? Or I will make the request that we adjourn so we give petitioner time to talk to the building department. Do we have a second?
About what?
About the timetable in which they can complete this project. And we'll adjourn it to the next meeting.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ron. Do we have any opposition? Okay, hearing none. the request is adjourned. So I encourage you to reach out to the building department for further discussion.
Very good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, last on the agenda is 181 Brennan Road.
Hello. I'm Paul Bergio, married to Donna. She's the official property owner. We'd like to put up a building for storage. We both have classic vehicles that we do not drive in the winter, and we have nowhere to work on them. And we also have our regular vehicles, which we'd like to not have to scrape snow and ice from, a camper, and various other, items that we'd like to store.
Okay.
What else do you need to know?
Do you have any alternatives to what you're requesting?
Not really. We were told once, because we live right next door to Brennan Topsoil, and they have 4 or 5 barns there, and they have usually 3 head of cattle at a time. Anyways, they said, well, you're zoned agricultural, you can put up anything you want. Well, we've already put a substantial down payment on this building, which is not refundable. Even if we make it smaller, they won't change their price any. So, it's not too many square feet over than what we're allowed, and as far as the character of the neighborhood goes, there's really nothing there. If you take an aerial of the Brennan property right next to ours, you can see that it doesn't really affect anybody's view of anything or anything like that.
Okay. We'll pull it up.
That's our house right there in the upper left. Right, there's Brennan, and we're up there on that red dot.
Okay.
And the barn would be to the left of that, of the house. Yeah, the area's been cleared, and trees have been gone for about 2 years now.
Okay.
This would be on that corner.
Pardon me?
It would be on that curve.
Not quite. Our property line is, yeah, the curve's up a little bit, but not far.
And the garage in front of the proposed garage, that would stay?
That's basically a shed. It has an overhead door, but it's housing, the garden tractor and all the other miscellaneous outdoor furniture, that sort of thing.
But you plan to keep that and not
Yes,
move
yes,
everything into?
I plan to keep that.
There's a lot of trees there. It looks like it'll be not really visible from the
Correct.
street.
Correct. There still is a lot of trees on that corner lot.
Okay. Does anyone else have questions?
I do, a couple. What is it, what street is that? It says Empire State, Empire State what?
Trail.
What is that?
It's,
And what is the zoning? Is it agricultural, or is it?
it is residential
Yeah, suburban
agricultural.
agriculture.
Or suburban agriculture, yes.
Suburban agriculture. We have a town park immediately to the west. It's the Amherst Veterans Canal Park.
I see.
It's a boat launch there. It's very, very picturesque part of our community.
Okay.
Yeah, the bike path comes out of the park, goes around that bend, and then picks up over there closer to the bridge.
Okay, so you said you've already removed some trees. Do you plan to remove any other trees, or is this
No.
already cleared?
It's cleared.
Okay.
And how much of the landscaping as a screen would still remain?
I'm sorry, how much has the screen?
The landscaping that would screen the view of public?
Oh, quite a bit, quite a bit. Our property line, if you, yeah, there you go, there you go. Yeah, I have the camper there, the other trailer, a winter vehicle. Okay, you see the pop-up camper? The new building would be just to its left and going left. So all those trees on the right side are staying, they're not even mine.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? All right. Do we have anyone here from the audience to speak on this petition? I don't see anyone else coming forward or hear from anyone, so we'll close the public hearing. Do we have a request or motion from the board?
Motion for approval.
I'll second. Any further discussion?
No.
All right. I think we went through most of the tests, but I'll just run through it quick because I feel like Brian has done a lot of them. I don't think there will be any undesirable change to nearby properties. It doesn't seem that there are many residential properties nearby, and you've stated that it's already cleared anyway. You're not going to remove any further trees. The other alternatives would not be suitable to house the equipment and vehicles you're talking about, and you've already put a down payment down that you would lose if you do not go forward with the project. I don't think it is substantial given the neighborhood that this is located in that area of town. The physical and environmental conditions don't seem to be that they will be affected in any other way, given that the trees have already been cut down and we're not going to remove any further trees. This is self-created because you don't necessarily need it, but we don't want you to lose a substantial amount of money. So even if it is self-created, that's not enough to deny the request alone. I would say, given that you meet the test, do we have any opposition? Hearing none, the motion is granted 5-0. You're all set.
All right. Thank you all very much.
And that concludes our meeting tonight. Do we have a motion to adjourn? I'll move second. All in favor? Okay. All right. So what's going on with your race?